My name is Leah. I'm 29 years old and work as a contract engineer for a global energy firm. Most of my work happens in the field. Think oil rigs in Norway, wind farms in Portugal, or monitoring stations in the middle of the Sahara. It's not glamorous, but it pays well. And most importantly, it gives me space. Space from home, from my family, from my sister. Her name is Jade. She's 27. Blonde, perfectly manicured, always dressed like she's going to brunch with a fashion editor, even when she's just picking up dog food. She's the golden girl of our family. Even though I'm the one with the cool job that takes me around the world, Jade has always been the one everyone gravitates toward. Charming, funny, a magnet for attention. And she knows it. Our parents practically orbit around her. She used to joke that I was the trial child. You know, the rough draft before the final copy? I laughed when I was younger. Now, I just nod and stay quiet. 2 months ago, I finished a 9-week stint in South Korea. It was grueling. 14-hour days, freezing nights, and barely a signal to check emails. But the bonus made it worth it. I plan to come home, finally rest, and drive up the coast in my 2009 Land Cruiser, something I'd bought and rebuilt myself over 3 years. It was more than a car. It was my home between homes, my safe space, my sanity on wheels. I had even named her Ray, short for resilience. Ray had been with me through storms, border crossings, and one very sketchy ferry ride in Morocco. She wasn't flashy, but she was mine. Mine completely. So imagine my face when I landed in LAX, walked to the airport garage where I'd stored her, and the spot was empty. At first, I thought I was in the wrong row. Then I checked the email confirmation. Right spot. No Ray. Just oil stains and an abandoned grocery cart. Panic hit fast. Had she been towed? Stolen? I called the garage office, then security. They checked the logs. She was picked up 3 weeks ago, the woman said flatly. By who? Let me see. Someone named Jade Simmons. Is that your sister? I blinked. My mouth was dry. Yes. Then no issue, right? She had the key and showed ID. I hung up without answering. I stood there in the middle of a parking lot under flickering fluorescent lights, not knowing whether to scream, throw up, or laugh. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Jade answered on the 3rd ring. Hey, sis. You back? How is Asia? I didn't even respond to that. Where's my car? Silence. Then a breathy chuckle. Okay, don't freak out. Don't freak out, she repeated, as if that phrase had ever stopped anyone from freaking out. I gripped my phone tighter. My pulse thudded in my ear. Jade, I said, slowly and clearly, where is my car? More silence. Then she sighed. You weren't even using it, Leah. I blinked. The audacity hit like a slap. I was out of the country for work. That doesn't mean I stopped owning my things. Okay, well, yeah, but it's been sitting there for, what, weeks? Answer the question. She finally broke. All right, I sold it. My knees nearly gave out. You what? I needed the money, okay? She rushed. The offer came through Nick's cousin. He's opening some outdoorsy tour thing in Utah. I figured it was just rusting in that garage, and I thought, you thought you'd just sell my car without asking? She had the nerve to sound offended. Why are you being so dramatic? I nearly laughed. Dramatic? I was barely holding it together. I couldn't even find words. I opened my mouth and then just stood there, staring at the cement beneath my boots. Not just any car. Not a leased Honda or some backup sedan. Ray. Years of labor. Custom engine work. A rear solar setup I hand-installed on a hot summer night. Gone. Because my sister figured I didn't need it. I finally spoke. You owe me $18,000, she scoffed. Leah, I didn't get that much. The cousin gave me 10 and... You sold her for 10? Market value for an old SUV. I cut her off. She had over 12 grand in custom work. Not to mention the fact that it wasn't yours to sell. I could hear her shrug through the phone. I mean, it's done now. No use crying over it. Then she had the audacity to say, I'll let you borrow my car if you need wheels for a while. Borrow. Her car. I ended the call, not out of rage, not because I didn't have more to say, but because I didn't trust myself not to scream. I stood there for a full minute, phone limp in my hand, heart pounding. Then I called an Uber. The whole ride home, I stared out the window, playing her voiceover in my head. Don't freak out. Figured you didn't need it. It's done now. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at the edge of my bed, scrolling through old pictures. One from a rainy forest in Oregon, another by the desert cliffs in Arizona, each one with Ray in the background. A silent witness to my life. Gone because someone else decided I didn't need her. At 3:12 a.m., I opened Facebook Marketplace. I typed in one phrase, 2017 Mini Cooper S convertible, white, 60,000 miles. Jade's car. She adored that thing like it was a pet. Washed it weekly. Had a name for it. Pearl. Within minutes, I found the listing. Posted 2 days ago. Price, $9,500. Seller, Jade Simmons. My jaw clenched. She was planning to sell hers too. Good. I was going to make sure she did. And I was going to be the buyer. I stared at the listing. A white 2017 Mini Cooper S convertible. Detailed photos. Even had one with a little flower in the cup holder captioned, My baby, 2 hearts. I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just a cold, calculating stillness. The kind you feel before a storm. I screenshotted the post, saved the contact. Then I texted a friend. His name was Marcus. A quiet guy I'd worked with in Norway last year. Brilliant with machinery. Loyal as hell. More importantly, he owed me a favor. I messaged. Need you to buy a car for me. I'll send the link. He replied instantly. Say no more. By noon the next day, Marcus had reached out through the listing. Used a fake name. Ben. Ben from Santa Clarita. Said he was looking for a fun car for his girlfriend. Asked if he could see it that afternoon. Jade responded within 15 minutes. Of course, I'm free after 3, smiley face. By 5 p.m., Marcus had viewed it, test-driven it, and handed over a cashier's check. Paid in full. No negotiation. I covered it, of course. I had the funds, thanks to the Korea contract bonus. He drove it off her driveway. And at exactly 5:41 p.m., Jade texted the family group chat. Pearl has a new home face holding back tears bittersweet, but she's gone. I didn't reply. Neither did our parents. They barely use that group anyway. Only ever light up when Jade posts a new selfie. Marcus met me in a quiet lot off Ventura Boulevard. He tossed me the keys. Drives like a cloud. Shame what's about to happen to it. I nodded. He didn't ask questions. That's why I trusted him. I sat inside Pearl. It was exactly like I remembered. Sleek leather. That lemon-scented air freshener. The customized gear knob with JS engraved. It was, undeniably, Jade's car. And now, legally, it was mine. I drove it out to an old property my uncle left me in Mojave years ago. Desolate land. No neighbors for miles. I hadn't been there in years, but I kept it in my name. I kept the keys. For something. For this. By midnight, I parked Pearl on the dry patch of gravel behind the fence. Stars above. Wind howling low. No sound but my boots crunching dirt. I got out. Opened the trunk. Inside, a red gas can. Half full. I'd filled it earlier without hesitation. No drama. No trembling hands. I poured it slowly, over the seats, across the dash, soaked the mats, and let it drip into the cup holders she used for iced coffee. Then I lit a single match. And dropped it. The fire caught quick. It licked up the leather, twisted the mirrors, shattered the windshield from the heat. Pearl screamed without sound, flames dancing like fury in the night. I didn't flinch, didn't cry. I just stood there, watching the symbol of her life burn to nothing. Ray had been more than metal. She was history. Pearl? Pearl was ego. And tonight, ego met fire. The fire took 28 minutes. I timed it. By the end, nothing remained but a twisted black frame, 2 melted rims, and the faint smell of something artificial dying. I stood a while longer. No guilt, no second thoughts, only clarity. I wasn't someone you could steal from and expect forgiveness. Especially not when that something was Ray. By 2 a.m., I was back in LA. Parked my own rental in front of my apartment and went inside. Slept soundly. Dreamlessly. The first real rest I'd had since touching down. The next morning, my phone lit up. 2 missed calls. Jade. 1 voicemail. Her voice was pitched high. Panicked. Leah, hey, so, weird thing. Someone said they saw Pearl, on fire? A breathless half-laugh. I mean, that's crazy, right? It can't be true? She kept talking. Did you see something online? Some guy tagged me in a burnt car photo and it kinda looks like Pearl? Can you call me back? I didn't. Instead, I called Marcus. Any heat? I asked. He laughed. No cameras, no plates, no trail. That car's as gone as last winter. Thanks. You okay? I paused. I'm getting there. That afternoon, Jade messaged again. This time, the tone had shifted. Hey, I just talked to Ben, the guy who bought Pearl. Except, get this. There is no Ben. His number's disconnected. The address he gave doesn't exist. Did you have anything to do with this? I read it twice. Then typed back, you sold something that wasn't yours. Consider us even. She replied instantly. Wait, what? You bought Pearl and burned her? Are you insane? Another text came seconds later. Leah, that car was worth more than your stupid truck. Then, Pearl had value, Ray was scrap metal. And finally, you need therapy. Actual help. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She was unraveling. Just like I had the night I found Ray gone. Difference was, she still thought this was about the car. It wasn't. It was about being seen, being respected, being treated like a person, not a placeholder. My whole life, Jade had gotten away with crossing every line, every boundary, because she was the fun one, the charming one. The one Mom always said was just a little impulsive. But this time? There was no shrugging it off. No oops to erase the betrayal. She'd sold something sacred, so I returned the favor with fire. That night, our mom called me for the first time in months. Straight to voicemail. Leah, sweetheart, Jade is in hysterics. She said you did something horrible. Something with her car. Can we talk? This doesn't sound like you. I stared at the phone. It absolutely sounded like me. They just never bothered to listen before. 2 days passed. Silence. Not a word from Jade. No more voice notes. No dramatic Instagram stories. Just digital quiet, like the calm before a second explosion. I waited. Because I knew my family, silence never lasted long. And I was right. On the 3rd day, my mother showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. Dressed like she came straight from a tennis club she never actually played at. I didn't answer the buzzer, but she waited outside for 14 minutes and 37 seconds. I watched from the kitchen window. Finally, I buzzed her in. Not because I wanted to talk, but because I wanted her to see me in my own space. My rules. My silence. She stepped in like she owned the floor. I'm only here because Jade is a wreck. I poured myself tea. Didn't offer her any. She said, you destroyed her car. She didn't say burned. Didn't say committed arson. Just destroyed. Like maybe if she softened the word, the act would feel less sharp. She sold mine, I said flatly. You were out of the country, she replied too quickly. Exactly, which means I wasn't dead. She pursed her lips. She needed money. I stared at her. And I needed my car. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I don't think you understand what you've done, she finally said. I tilted my head. Oh, I understand exactly what I've done. For the first time in years, I made Jade feel powerless. That's not fair, she whispered, and that's when I snapped. Not fair? I stood. I rebuilt Ray from the ground up. I bled on that frame. Slept in that car when I had nowhere else. It was my one constant, and Jade threw it away for 10 grand and a brunch selfie. Mom looked stunned, like she'd never considered any of that. Of course she hadn't. She said you tricked her, she mumbled. I smiled, sharp and cold. No, I played by her rules. She called it value. I gave her a lesson in it. My mom shifted her stance, put her purse on the counter like she was settling in. But I was done. You need to go, I said, pointing to the door. Her eyes widened. Leah, we're family. We were, until family started selling things behind each other's backs. She didn't move, so I said it again. Quieter this time. Go. She picked up her purse. Her heels clicked like accusations against the hardwood. And just before she stepped out, she turned. You know, Jade has always been sensitive. And I haven't? I asked. She didn't answer. She just left. I locked the door behind her. Then leaned against it. And I cried. Not for the car. Not even for the betrayal. I cried because I realized they never saw me. Even now. Even after fire. The thing about fire is, it leaves nothing halfway, ash or untouched, ruined or spared. There's no middle ground, and that's how things felt now. Everything in my family was either scorched or completely detached. 3 days after Mom's visit, I got an email. Subject line, insurance claim, vehicle incident. Jade had filed. Of course she had. She was trying to cash out on a car she no longer owned, one that had already transferred title. To me, the system flagged the mismatch. Ownership didn't align. And that's when her panic turned into desperation. She texted, You really put the car in your name? You psychopath. Then, I can't even file a claim now. Are you proud of that? Then silence. Until an hour later, another message. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't know Ray meant that much to you. That's what got me. I didn't know. Like, it was my fault for not sobbing in front of her when I talked about it. Like, the burden was on me to make her care. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded everything to a lawyer. Yes, the car was mine. Yes, I had evidence. Yes, Jade had fraudulently sold something she didn't own. But no, I didn't want to press charges. I wanted peace. Or at least silence with legal distance. Later that evening, I saw her post on Instagram. A photo of her in sunglasses, captioned, People will hurt you and call it healing. But I rise. Hashtag Phoenix Mode. Hashtag Justice for Pearl. Thousands of likes. Dozens of comments. She's so strong. OMG, who hurt you? I hope they're rotting. I didn't feel rage. Just a dull, exhausted ache. Because that's what Jade was good at. Controlling the narrative. Looking like the one who was wronged. And me? I was the footnote. The shadow in her glowing story. Until the DM came. It was from someone I didn't know. Profile, Nick Romero. Bio, Adventure Tours, Utah. I recognized the name. The cousin she'd sold Ray to. He wrote, Hey, not sure what's going on, but if that Land Cruiser was yours, I think we need to talk. My stomach dropped. I replied, It was. She had no right to sell it. He answered within minutes. I believe you. She told me it was hers, but something felt off. Your name was on the original documents she left in the glove box. I stared at the screen. Of course. She hadn't even bothered to clean it out. Ray had still held my name. My prints. My proof. Nick continued. I'm not trying to get involved. Just wanted to say, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I sat in the dark for a long time after that, looking at a stranger's apology, because somehow it felt more genuine than anything I'd ever gotten from my own sister. 2 days later, Jade requested a meeting, through text. No emojis this time, no pet names, just, can we talk? In person, please. I almost ignored it. Almost. But some part of me, a part one hated, still wanted to believe she could be better. So I said yes. We met at a neutral spot, a coffee shop halfway between our places. Bright. Busy. Public. Just enough noise to buffer tension. She arrived late. Of course she did. Wearing a beige trench coat and those oversized sunglasses she wore when she wanted to look mysterious. She sat down like it was a casual catch-up. No greeting. Just. So, you really torched my car. Not a question. A statement. I folded my hands. You really sold mine. She rolled her eyes. Ugh, still with this Ray obsession. Still pretending you didn't do something criminal. Her jaw clenched. Then she leaned in, voice low. I get it, you're mad. But this was over the line. I didn't flinch. I didn't do it to get even. I did it to remind you, I'm not someone you can walk over. She laughed. But it wasn't amused. It was sharp. Bitter. God, Leah. You always think you're the victim. Always playing martyr. Maybe if you weren't so cold, people would treat you better. There it was. The Jade I remembered. The one who smiled in public but bit hard in private. I didn't raise my voice, didn't take the bait. Instead, I pulled a manila envelope from my bag, slid it across the table. What's this? She asked, frowning. Legal confirmation that Ray was mine, that you sold stolen property, that I chose not to press charges. She went pale. You wouldn't. I didn't, I said calmly, but I could have. And I still could. So don't ever test me again. She stared at the paper. Hands twitching. Lip wobbling. Why are you being like this? I smiled. It wasn't kind. It wasn't cruel. Just honest. Because I let you steal too many things for too long. My clothes, my credit, my trust. She blinked. I gave you clothes too. And you expected applause for it, I interrupted. Like I was supposed to be grateful for hand-me-downs from the girl who never asked before taking. Her eyes glistened. But I didn't let it sway me. I'm not here for tears, I said. I'm here for closure. Jade leaned back, arms folded, walls rebuilding. So what? We're not sisters anymore? I looked at her, really looked. The girl who used to cry when her fish died, the teenager who once stole my diary and read it aloud for laughs, the woman who sold my car and said, "Don't freak out." No, I said finally, we're not sisters. We're just two people with the same last name. And one of them has a lighter. I thought she'd yell. Or throw her coffee. Or make a scene the way she used to in high school when things didn't go her way. But she just sat there. Silent. Small. And for the first time in years, I realized she wasn't invincible. She was just loud. I left the coffee shop without looking back. No hugs. No fake promises to text later. Just the cool slam of the door behind me. Freedom. But Jade wasn't done. Not even close. By that night, her Instagram was glowing again. A new post. It's sad when the people you grew up with turn into strangers. #healing, #family betrayal. And the comments. They came fast. Her followers adored drama. They lived for it. Stay strong, babe. block toxic energy. Who did this to you? Name names! I didn't comment. Didn't DM. Didn't engage. Let her paint whatever picture she wanted. But then, she took it further. She posted a video, tear-streaked. Soft piano music playing behind her. I don't usually do this, she began, but I've been hurt deeply. She never said my name, but everyone knew. She spoke about betrayal, about loss, about a sister with rage issues and a history of instability. That last one stung. Because it wasn't just drama anymore. It was character assassination. I got a message from an old college friend. Hey, saw Jade's post? Is she talking about you? Another from a former coworker. Wait, weren't you abroad? What's going on? Even Marcus texted. You good? I was. But I was also tired. Tired of being the villain in her version of events. Tired of always being the silent one. So I posted too. No video. No tears. Just a photo. Me standing next to Ray 3 years ago. Covered in dirt, smiling wide. Captioned. She wasn't a car. She was my history. You don't sell someone's history and expect peace. I didn't tag Jade. Didn't mention her. But the message was clear. And it hit. Hard. The comments rolled in. Quiet support. People who remembered. People who saw me. Even Nick, the cousin, commented. Ray deserved better. So did you. Then came the DM. From our father. First one in almost a year. Call me. I stared at it for a long time. Was it concern? Was it anger? I didn't know. But something told me. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The next morning, I called him. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to know what version of the story he had heard. He answered on the first ring. Leah. His tone was firm, like he was stepping into a boardroom, not a conversation with his daughter. I've been reading things, he said. I bet you have. A pause. Then, your sister's upset. I almost laughed. She's always upset. It's her native language. He didn't like that. His sigh was heavy. Look, I know Jade can be impulsive. But burning her car? I corrected him. My car was stolen. Her car was a reminder. Of what? He asked. Of what happens when you treat people like they're disposable. He didn't reply. Maybe because he finally had to think. Maybe because he knew deep down I wasn't just talking about Jade. I don't want to take sides, he said. There it was. Classic dad. Fence sitter extraordinaire. Always choosing neutrality so he never had to feel guilt. I stayed quiet, let him sit in it. Finally, he continued. I think this has gone too far. Jade's saying she might move. She's not eating, she's spiraling. She spiraled the moment she put my keys in someone else's hand, I said. Another pause. He tried a new tactic. You know, when you were little, you never cried. We always thought that made you strong. I swallowed hard. You thought silence meant I was fine. Well, it didn't. The line went quiet. I almost hoped he would apologize. But that was a fairy tale. Instead, he said, your mom wants to have dinner. All of us. Sit down. Talk this through. I laughed bitterly. You want a family dinner after arson and fraud? We just want to fix this. No, I said. You want to appear like you fixed it. So you can go back to pretending none of it happened. He didn't deny it. Didn't argue, which meant I was right. I'm done, I said. With what? With being the background character in Jade's tragedy, with paying the price every time she feels bored or broke. You can't stay angry forever, he said. I'm not angry, I replied. I'm awake. He exhaled again. That same tired sigh he used when I brought home good grades, but Jade forgot her homework. When I got a scholarship, but Jade crashed Mom's car. He always sighed when justice was inconvenient. Goodbye, Dad. Leah. I hung up, then blocked his number. 10 minutes later, Jade messaged again. This time, no insults, just 4 words. You ruined our family. I didn't reply. Because she was wrong. I didn't ruin anything. I just exposed what was already broken. 2 weeks passed. No more messages. No dramatic voicemails. Just silence. And this time, I welcomed it. I took a trip. Not for work, not for escape. Just me. Drove up the coast in a rented van with no name, no attachment, just fresh air and long roads. I didn't bring photos, didn't check social media, didn't even tell anyone I was leaving, because no one in my family would have noticed anyway. On the 3rd night, I parked near Big Sur, climbed a bluff with a blanket and a thermos, watched the sun die slow and golden, and I let myself think about Ray, her engine, her stubborn wheels, the radio that only played AM after mile 200. She was more than a car. She was mine when nothing else was. Jade hadn't just sold metal, she sold memory. And she didn't even flinch doing it. But fire had a way of clearing the field, of making room. And I had room now. To breathe, to grow, to be someone new. Not the silent fixer, not the forgotten sister. Just Leah. Back home, life was simpler. I switched phones, deleted old numbers, kept only what added to me, not what drained me. I got a message on LinkedIn from Nick, the cousin. He'd seen my post. He just wrote, "I'm starting a new business. When you're ready to build again, let me know." I smiled, closed the app. Maybe someday. That night, I got a letter. A real one. In an envelope. No return address. Inside, a photo. Burned edges. Ray, parked by the Grand Canyon. Me, sitting on her hood, grinning, dusty and wild. And a note. In Jade's handwriting. I didn't get it. I still don't fully. But I see now it mattered. I'll never understand how you stay so quiet and still burn things down. I guess that's your power. Jay. I stared at it for a long time. No apology. But maybe a crack. A hint that something had shifted. Not enough to forgive, not enough to fix anything, but maybe enough to finally move on. I folded the photo and tucked it into my journal. Not as a keepsake, but as proof. Proof that sometimes silence does say everything. I never told anyone else what I did. Not the full story, not the match, not the gas. I didn't need to. Because when someone steals from you, when they take without asking, sometimes without asking, they expect you to cry, my wear the collapse, but I didn't. I stood up. I bought her car, and I set it on fire. Not for revenge, but to draw a line. A final one. In smoke. What do you think about Leah's decision? Was she too harsh, or was this the only way to truly protect herself? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories about complicated family dynamics.